You stand in the shadows of your own life, watching others seize what should be yours. They climb ladders you built, claim victories you earned, all while you hesitate, polite and predictable. Why? Because you've been taught weakness disguised as virtue, kindness as a shield, words as your weapon. But the battlefield isn't fair. It's a jungle where the silent predator devours the noisy prey. You feel it, don't you? That gnawing hunger for control, for the power to bend wills without lifting a finger. Machiavelli knew this. He forged an arsenal not of steel, but of shadow tactics that awaken the wolf within. Tonight, we unearth them. 8 dark psychology tactics that actually work, not theories. Blades sharpened by history's conquerors. Use them and the world bows. Ignore them and it crushes you. First, conceal your intentions. You think transparency builds trust? That's the lie they sell to keep you vulnerable. Like a serpent coiled in the grass, you strike without warning. Imagine Caesar crossing the Rubicon. He smiled at his senators, shared wine, all while his legions sharpened swords in secret. They saw a friend. He saw prey. You do the same. At work, when that promotion dangles like bait, don't broadcast your hunger. Let them chatter about their plans. You nod, you listen, but your mind maps the terrain. Feed them half-truths, distractions. I'm just here to help the team, you say, while your resume sharpens like a dagger. People fear the unknown. Your silence becomes their nightmare. They project their own deceit onto you, unraveling themselves. Repetition breeds power. Hide. Observe. Strike. Hide. Observe. Strike. Soon, they hand you the keys to their empire, never seeing the thief in their midst. But concealment alone isn't enough. You must master the art of saying less than necessary. Words are arrow sluice too many, and you empty your quiver. Napoleon understood this. In councils of war, he spoke in fragments, forcing generals to fill the voids with their assumptions. They debated, they schemed, all while he steered from the silence. You apply it daily. In negotiations, don't spill your bottom line. Let your opponent talk. Their babble reveals cracks desires, fears, weaknesses. You interject sparingly. Interesting. Perhaps. Each word a probe, testing defenses. Silence isn't weakness. It's a vacuum that sucks them in. They fill it with concessions, desperate for your approval. Feel that pull? That's control. You become the enigma, the oracle they consult. Predators don't roar before the kill. They stalk. You stalk. Short sentences carve deep. Speak less. Listen more. Dominate. Transition now to the blade of attention. Court it at all costs, but on your terms. The world ignores the meek, devours the bold. Like a wolf pack circling, you draw eyes without begging. Machiavelli whispered, "Visibility is power. You enter rooms not as a shadow, but as thunder veiled in calm. Dress sharp, move deliberate, not flash elegant lethality. Share stories sparingly, laced with mystery. I once turned a rival's plot against him," you hint, then pause. They lean in, hooked. Third-person echoes. Think of Cleopatra, enchanting Antony not with armies, but with spectacle. She arrived on golden barges, perfumed winds carrying her allure. You craft your own. Post cryptic updates, online access without explanation. Followers swarm, speculating. Envy festers. But beware, attention is a double-edged sword. Wield it precisely, or it wounds you. Now, deepen the strike. Crush your enemy totally. Half measures breed vengeful ghosts. History's empires fell to resurgent foes. Genghis Khan razed cities to dust, ensuring no spark reignited. You must do likewise in your wars. That backstabbing colleague? Don't slap wrists. Dismantle their influence. Gather allies quietly. Expose flaws surgically. Not with fury, with facts wrapped in indifference. I noticed discrepancies, you say in meetings, planting seeds. Watch them wilt as doubt spreads like poison. Mercy, a fool's gift. It invites betrayal. You end threats root and stem. Feel the primal surge. Dominance isn't kind. It's absolute. Wolves don't leave wounded prey to bite back. They finish. You finish. Yet power isn't just destruction, it's illusion. Enter the theater of deception. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. You think truth is your ally? Number? It's a tool, wielded like a poisoned chalice. Offer scraps of sincerity to build false trust, then strike. Machiavelli advised princes to appear merciful, faithful, humane while being none. You mirror this. In alliances, give small favors. A tip, a compliment, laced with calculation. I trust you with this secret, you whisper, sharing something trivial. They lower guards, reciprocate with real vulnerabilities. Like a spider's web, your generosity ensnares. Remember Rockefeller? He donated dimes publicly, masking monopolies that crushed competitors. You do it subtly. Help a rival with advice that leads them astray. They thank you, blind to the trap. Repetition echoes. Give to take. Give to take. Primal instinct awakens control through benevolence veiled in shadow. But empires demand guardians. Win through your actions, never through argument. Words clash like dull blades. Deeds carve legends. You argue. You expose flanks. Opponents twist your logic, drain your fire. Instead, demonstrate. Napoleon didn't debate battles. He won them, forcing maps to redraw. You apply it. Boss doubts your idea. Don't defend with speeches. Execute a pilot. Deliver results. Silence their skepticism with proof. In relationships, don't plead for respect. Command it through boundaries enforced without explanation. Walk away from disrespect. Let absence roar louder than any tirade. Feel the shift? You're no longer beggar, but emperor. Predators don't howl justifications. They act. Short, sharp. Act. Conquer. Repeat. Now, sharpen the edge. Infect their minds with insecurity. Isolation is your ally guard, your reputation with audacity. But to weaken foes, sow doubt in their circles. Whisper rumors not as gossip, but as concerned observations. I heard concerns about his reliability, you say offhand, planting weeds that choke their alliances. Like wolves isolating the weak from the herd, you fracture their support. Caesar divided Gaul tribes, turning kin against kin. You divide offices, friendships, subtle emails, anonymous tips never traceable to you. They paranoia spirals, alliances crumble. You watch from shadows, unscathed. Dominance thrives on their fear. You become the unseen force, the ghost in their machine. Elegance in cruelty. Undermine quietly. Reap loudly. Transition to the pinnacle. Play people against each other. Divide and conquer isn't cliché's doctrine. Set rivals clashing, then emerge as mediator, savior. Machiavelli's princes pitted nobles, harvesting loyalty from chaos. You orchestrate. In teams, assign overlapping tasks. Watch egos collide. Both ideas have merit, you say, fanning flames. They exhaust fighting. You consolidate power. Think of wolves in pack, some distract, others kill. You distract. Historical echo. Queen Elizabeth, the first balanced Catholic and Protestant lords, her throne secure amid their strife. You balance, you rule. Emotional trigger. Feel the thrill. Control isn't seized, it's engineered. Precision strikes. Pit them. Rise above. Deeper still. Discover all you can about others. Reveal nothing about yourself. Knowledge is ammunition. You probe like a surgeon's knife casual questions, feigned interest. Tell me more about your goals, you urge, mapping their psyche. They spill dreams, fears. You hoard yours, an iron vault. Sherlock Holmes deduced lives from trifles. You deduce weaknesses from words. In deals, know their pressures, deadlines, budgets before they know yours. Strike at soft spots. Repetition builds. Ask. Absorb. Armor yourself in mystery. But true mastery demands timing. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Scarcity breeds value. Flood the market with your presence, and you cheapen. Withdraw strategically. Miss meetings. Delay responses. Let them hunger for your input. Like a comet's rare blaze, your appearances dazzle. Rock stars vanish post-tour. Legends grow. You vanish after triumphs. Rumors swirl. They elevate you in absence. Primal fear. Loss sharpens desire. You become indispensable ghost. Finally, guard the fortress. Do not commit to anyone. Loyalty is chains. Flexibility, wings. Bind to none, ally as needed. Shift with winds, like Machiavelli's fox and lion. Betray not with malice, but necessity. Historical wolves. Churchill allied Stalin against Hitler, then pivoted. You pivot. In careers, don't wed one mentor court many. Discard as paths fork. Emotional momentum surges. Freedom is power. Unchained, you conquer horizons. You sense it now, don't you? That unchained beast stirring in your chest, claws scraping against the cage of convention. Horizons stretch before you, vast and vulnerable, waiting for your conquest. But true predators don't rush blindly. They arm themselves with the final edges of Machiavelli's arsenal, honing instincts into instruments of domination. Let's forge deeper, into the heart of psychological warfare, where silence becomes your sharpest blade and perception your unyielding shield. Plunge into the shadows of misdirection. Always say less than you know, but when you speak, let it echo like thunder in a cavern. You've mastered sparsity. Now weaponize it with veiled threats wrapped in calm. Picture a wolf bearing just a glimpse of fang not to attack, but to instill dread. In boardrooms, when rivals probe your strategy, offer fragments. We've considered options. Let their imaginations run wild, conjuring horrors you never voiced. Napoleon did this masterfully, leaking false dispatches to lure enemies into traps. You leak illusions. A casual remark about shifts in alliances sends them scrambling. Alliances fracturing under self-inflicted weight. Feel the power? Your words aren't declarations, they're seeds of chaos, germinating in their minds. Repetition carves the path. Hint, haunt, harvest. But shadows alone don't suffice. You must cultivate an aura of inevitability, making others believe your rise is fate itself. This is the art of assuming power without proclamation. Enter spaces as if you own them, your gaze steady, your posture an empire in miniature. No pleas for authority, just quiet commands. We'll proceed this way, you state, not ask. Subordinates fall in line, drawn to the gravity of your certainty. Think of Alexander the Great, who declared himself divine not through sermons but through victories that made gods bow. You declare through deeds. In social circles, don't chase approval, exude it. Others orbit, seeking your light. Primal trigger. Dominance isn't shouted, it's exhaled, like breath from a dragon's maw. Short sentences strike. Assume, ascend, rule. Now, twist the knife with calculated vulnerability. Reveal a flaw not real, but craftetto humanize and disarm. Machiavelli counseled princes to feign frailties, turning sympathy into submission. You confess a minor setback. I struggled with that decision once. They empathize, lower defenses, share their own chasms. Like a trapper baiting with blood, you draw them close for the kill. Historical echo. Queen Victoria played the grieving widow, masking an iron grip on empire. You play the role, emotions as puppets. But never overdo authenticity is your mask, peeled at will. Emotional momentum builds. Vulnerability veils venom. Strike when they lean in. Deepen the assault. Exploit their desires, turning wants into weaknesses. Map what they crave as status, security, secret sand, dangle it just out of reach. Offer alliances that promise fulfillment, but bind them to your will. Like a siren's song leading sailors to rocks, your temptations lure. In deals, hint at exclusive opportunities. This could elevate you. They commit, overextend, while you retain escape. Wolves don't chase. They herd prey into corners. You herd. Precision, tease, trap, triumph. Yet, amid conquests, preserve the enigma. Never let them fully know you. Become the riddle they solve in vain. Share anecdotes that intrigue but reveal nothing core. I've faced betrayals, you say, eyes distant. They speculate, attributing depths that amplify your mystique. Sherlock's deductions pale to your deflections. Repetition reinforces. Mystery multiplies might. Transition to the forge of resilience. Transform setbacks into sieges. When attacked, don't retaliate. Wildly absorb, adapt, avenge coldly. Turn their aggression against them, like judo masters, using force to unbalance. Caesar forgave enemies publicly, then isolated them privately. You forgive with a smile, plotting in silence. Feel the surge? Defeat is illusion. Victory, inevitable. Poetic dominance. From ashes, empires rise. Further, harness the power of networks, weaving webs that ensnare without strain. Cultivate informants, not friends' eyes and ears in every den. A whisper here, a favor there, and intelligence flows like rivers to your throne. Machiavelli's spies toppled republics. Yours topple rivals. Subtle, seamless. Listen, leverage, lead. Now, evoke the predator's patience. Strike only when the iron is hot, but forge it yourself. Timing is the unseen general, commanding battles before they begin. Delay responses to heighten anticipation, then deliver with devastating accuracy. Like an archer drawing bow, you wait for the perfect release. Napoleon's campaigns thrived on this feints followed by fury. You feint daily. In confrontations, pause, let tension build, then dismantle with a single surgical word. Emotional trigger. Patience isn't waiting, it's weaponizing time. Sharp, wait, wound, win. As the sands of time shift under your feet, you realize mastery isn't a destination, it's a perpetual hunt where every breath hones your edge. You've tasted the elixir of control, felt its fire course through veins long dormant. But the arsenal deepens, Machiavelli's whispers growing into roars that echo in your soul. Let us carve further, awakening instincts that slumber in the weak, forging you into the architect of fates. Embrace the cloak of unpredictability, become the storm they cannot forecast. Predictable men are pawns, moved and discarded. You, a whirlwind, direction veiled until it devastates. Shift tactics midstridally today, withdraw tomorrow. Let them label you fickle. It's their confusion that crowns you. Like a fox evading hounds, you zigzag through expectations. Napoleon feigned retreats, drawing foes into annihilation. You feign compliance. As you wish, you murmur, while your mind plots reversals. Feel the rush? Unpredictability isn't chaos, it's your symphony, notes clashing to drown their harmony. Poetic strike. Dance in shadows. Dictate the rhythm. But storms need fuel. Stoke envy as your silent ally, turning their admiration into acid that corrodes from within. Display successes, subtly not boasts, but glimpses of glory. A new conquest mentioned in passing, a hint of hidden wealth. They covet, they compare, their focus fractures. Machiavelli knew envy erodes empires faster than armies. You accelerate it. In circles of power, surround yourself with inferiors who amplify your shine, their mediocrity your pedestal. Wolves lead packs not by equality, but by stark superiority. Emotional trigger, let them burn in your light. Rise on their ashes. Repetition resounds. Ignite envy. Inherit thrones. Now wield the scalpel of flattery, but lace it with precision too much, and it dulls. Too little, it starves. Compliment not the obvious, but the concealed ego. Your insight cuts through the noise, you say to the insecure leader, binding them to your counsel. Flattery disarms like wine before poison. Cleopatra ensnared Caesar not with beauty alone, but with words that deified his ambition. You ensnare likewise. In rivalries, praise their strengths publicly, then exploit them privately. They swell, blind to your blade. Dominance whispers, flatter to fetter. Free yourself. Deeper into the fray, cultivate dependence, making yourself the oxygen they breathe. Offer solutions they can't. Refuse a guidance, resources, introductions, then ration them. Like a drug, your aid addicts. Withdraw slightly, watch them plead. Rockefeller built monopolies by controlling supply. You build loyalty by controlling value. I can help, but timing matters, you intone. Strings tightening, primal instinct. Dependence is domination disguised as benevolence. They cling. You command. Short, sharp, supply, starve, subjugate. Yet, in this web, guard against the spider's fate entanglement. Maintain emotional detachment, viewing players as pieces on your board. Attachment clouds judgment, invites exploitation. Observe passions from afar, like a general surveying fields. Betrayals sting less when hearts are armored. Historical echo. Stalin purged allies without remorse, his empire unyielding. You purge doubts, excising weaknesses. Feel the cold clarity. Power thrives in voids where sentiment once dwelled. Elegance in isolation. Detach, direct, dominate. Transition to the forge of perception. Shape reality through selective narrative. Facts bend to your willamette. Emphasize, reframe. A failure becomes a strategic pivot, a loss, a lesson in resilience. Broadcast your version first, loudest, etching it into minds. Like propagandists crafting myths, you author history. In crises, spin chaos into opportunity. This exposes our true strengths. Others echo your tale, reality reshaping. Wolves howl to claim territory. You narrate to claim minds. Momentum surges. Narrate. Nullify opposition. Reign. Further, harness the power of symbols gestures that speak volumes without utterance. A firm handshake, a lingering stare, a deliberate nod. These are your unspoken edicts. Machiavelli's princes ruled through pageantry. You rule through poise. Enter negotiations with artifacts of power. A rare watch, a confident stride. They infer depths, conceding ground. Emotional poetry. Symbols are silent swords, slicing through defenses. Now, evoke the essence of renewal. Reinvent yourself periodically, shedding skins like a serpent ascending. Stagnation invites attack. Evolution disorients foes. Adopt new personas from collaborator to conqueror, keeping them off balance. Think of Bowie, morphing identities to sustain legend. You morph strategies, alliances reforming around your core. Primal renewal. Shed. Surge. Supremacy await. Deepen with the art of indirect approach. Attack flanks, not fortresses. Direct confrontations drain. Subtlety saps, strength unseen. Undermine foundations' reputations. Resources while feigning frontal feints. Sunday Tsu's echoes in Machiavelli. Win without fighting. You win likewise. In vendettas, erode support networks quietly. Isolation preceding collapse. You stand at the precipice now. Flanks secured. Fractures widening in the enemy's lines. The air thickens with the scent of impending victory. Your instincts razor sharp, attuned to the subtle shifts that herald collapse. But mastery demands more than assault. It requires the alchemy of turning foes into unwitting allies, bending their will until they serve your throne. Let's delve into the venomous art of conversion. Make your enemy your instrument, not through force, but through insidious integration. Imagine a viper injecting poison that reprograms the prey's blood to flow in new directions. You do the same. When a rival clashes, don't destroy outright co-opt. Offer olive branches laced with hooks. Your vision aligns with mine in ways you haven't seen. Draw them into collaborations where their strengths bolster yours. their ambitions redirected like rivers dammed for your mills. Machiavelli turned adversaries into counselors, their counsel twisted to his ends. You twist likewise. In corporate battles, absorb a competitor's talent, rebranding their ideas as joint triumphs. They bask in illusionary glory. You harvest the empire. Feel the elegant cruelty? Conversion isn't mercy, it's conquest by camouflage. Wolves don't always kill. Sometimes they absorb the pack. Repetition pulses, co-opt, commandeer, crown yourself. But absorption needs vigilance. Erect barriers of selective association, surrounding yourself with mirrors that reflect your power, not eclipse it. Choose companions wisely, those who amplify, not drain. Shun the toxic, the envious, excising them like gangrenous limbs. Like an emperor pruning his court, you curate your circle. Napoleon exiled doubters, his inner ring forged of loyal steel. You exile subtly. Fade communications, redirect invitations. They wither in isolation, your aura untarnished. Primal surge, associations are armor. Forge it impenetrable. Short strikes, select, strengthen, soar. Now, ignite the forge of boldness. Act with audacity, for fortune favors the daring. Hesitation is the grave of empires. Decisiveness, their birthright. Charge into voids others fear, claiming territories uncharted. A bold proposal in stagnant meetings, a risky alliance in fractured fields you seize. Think of Cortés burning his ships, committing to conquest. No retreat. You burn bridges to lesser paths, forcing victory's forge. Emotional trigger, audacity, awakens gods within. Dare, and the world yields. Poetic dominance, boldness bends fate. Deeper, master the echo of echoes. Use repetition to embed commands in their subconscious. Not crude chants, but subtle refrains that burrow like roots. Excellence demands sacrifice. You intone in conversations, planting seeds that bloom as their mantras. Advertisers loop slogans. You loop influence. In teams, repeat core values until they internalize as their own. Like hypnotic rhythms, your words reshape realities. Historical wolves, Hitler's orators drilled ideologies, you drill dominance. Precision. Repeat. Reshape. Rule. Yet, in this symphony, insert pauses of profound impact. Harness silence as your thunderclap. After a revelation, let quiet descend, forcing them to marinate in your wisdom. Silence amplifies. It demands reflection, breeds obedience. A general's pause before orders etches them deeper. You pause in negotiations, eyes locked until they concede ground. Feel the vacuum pull? Silence isn't empty, it's gravitational. Elegance whispers, hush, hypnotize, harvest, transition to the pinnacle of perception, become the master of masks, donning personas that serve the moment. Chameleon-like, adapt truthless negotiator 1 hour, empathetic ally the next. Never fixed, always fluid. Machiavelli's prince was lion and fox. You are myriad beasts. In social sieges, mirror their energy, sinking to infiltrate. They trust the familiar reflection, blind to the shifter beneath. Momentum builds. Mask. Maneuver. Monopolize power. Further, exploit the cascade of commitment. Small concessions lead to larger surrenders. Start with trifles agree to this minor point, building momentum until they yield fortresses. Like boiling frogs, gradually, they adapt to your heat. Salesmen use this. You weaponize it for wars. In alliances, secure tiny favors, escalating to binding oaths. Primal psychology. Commitment compounds control. Strike sharp. Escalate. Enslave. Emerge victorious. Now, evoke the guardian's gaze. Anticipate betrayals, fortifying against the inevitable. Trust is a luxury for fools. Vigilance, your eternal sentinel. Map potential treacheries, countermeasures poised like loaded crossbows. When whispers of disloyalty stir, act preemptively, reassign, isolate. Neutralize. Caesar fell to unseen daggers. You see them all. Emotional clarity. Paranoia polished is prudence. Defend. Deflect. Dominate eternally. Deepen with the ritual of reflection. After each conquest, dissect it coldly, extracting lessons like a surgeon harvesting organs. What bent? What broke? Refine your arsenal, evolving beyond yesterday's self. Like Darwin's survivors adapting, you mutate for supremacy. Repetition refines. Reflect. Reinvent. Reign supreme. As your reflections crystallize into unbreakable resolve, you feel the weight of empires past pressing upon you, urging the final strokes of your transformation. The beast within no longer stirs it prowls, eyes gleaming with the hunger of wolves on winter's edge. Machiavelli's arsenal, once hidden in dusty tomes, now pulses in your veins, a venom that empowers rather than poisons. But to wield it fully, you must embrace the crescendo, integrate these shadows into your essence, turning primal instincts into perpetual dominion. Unleash the torrent of overwhelming force when the moment demands not brutality, but calculated avalanche. Subtlety serves the stalk, avalanche, the kill. When foes mass, don't parry-bury them under irrefutable superiority. Flood them with evidence, allies, momentum, until retreat becomes rout. Like Hannibal crossing Alps, you surprise with scale, elephants of influence trampling doubts. In your world, a presentation isn't slides, it's a siege engine, data battering rams, shattering objections. Feel the thunder. Overwhelm isn't excess, it's eclipse. Predators don't nibble, they devour. Repetition roars, surge, submerge, seize. But in victory's wake, sow seeds of legacy. Inspire awe through orchestrated myth. Craft tales of your ascents, whispered in corridors, amplified by acolytes. Not self-praised third-hand legends that grow organically. He turned the tide single-handed, they murmur. Your hand unseen in the planting. Alexander's chroniclers immortalized him. You chronicle subtly, posts and stories seeding the narrative. Emotional poetry. Myths aren't born, they're bred in shadows, rise as legend. Deepen the bond with isolation's blade. Sever ties that bind you low, elevating solitude to sanctuary. Lone wolves aren't weak, they're apex, unencumbered by pack politics. Detach from drainers, their pleas echoing in voids you create. A missed call, an unreturned favor they chase. You ascend. Historical echo. Emperors retreated to villas, emerging stronger. You retreat strategically, recharging in silence. Primal clarity. Solitude sharpens fangs. Isolate to intimidate. Now, twist fate with the art of reversal. Turn attacks into advantages. Jiu-jitsu of the psyche. When accused, don't deny amplify. Reframing as strength. Yes, I'm ambitious. It's what drives results. Disarm by owning, then counter. Like a matador, you let the bull charge, sidestepping to strike. Machiavelli reversed exiles into influence. You reverse slights into spotlights. Momentum surges. Reverse, redirect, reignite power. Further, command through curiosity's lure. Pose questions that lead them down your paths, not interrogation's subtle probes that reveal while concealing intent. What if we approached it differently? You ask, planting your vision in their minds. They explore, arriving at your conclusions as their own. Socratic shadows. Questions conquer quietly. Wolves circle before closing. You question to encircle. Evoke the guardian of gains. Protect victories with vigilance eternal, for power erodes without defense. Fortify wins document. Diversify. Duplicate alliances. A promotion secured? Build buffers against reversal. Like fortresses ringed by moats, your achievements stand unassailable. Emotional fortress. Vigilance is the sentinel that never sleeps. Guard. Grow. Glory endures. Transition to unity's illusion. Forge facades of equality while holding the reins. In teams, distribute credit. Let them taste triumph, but retain the source. They labor under shared banners, you weave the fabric. Subtle sovereignty. Equality entices, but hierarchy hides within. Lead like Caesars in republic skies. Finally, culminate in the essence of awakening. Realize that fearlessness isn't absence of fear, it's mastery over it, a silence that deafens, precision that pierces souls. You've armed yourself with blades of deception, shadows of strategy, empires built on whispers. Now, step forth. The world awaits its new conqueror. They don't fear what you said. They fear what you might do.